Democrats today. Um, the Democrats are just clowns, man. We're here to talk about it today. Make sure you guys check in. Make sure you guys hit the like button. This live is gonna go as long as I feel like it should go. Um, we're here to talk about the Democrats. They were at the Jesse Jackson funeral. Barack Obama, Pimp Daddy Barack Obama was out there. You had who else was out there? Kamala Harris was out there. Joe Biden was out there. And we're just here to talk about how they made Jesse Jackson's funeral, a man who should be celebrated, respectfully, should be celebrated. They made it about, politics. They didn't make it about his life's work. They didn't make it about the great things he's done. They made it about politics. They made it about Donald Trump. I think that was a spit in the face. That was a spit in the face. We're here to talk about it tonight. We're here to talk about it tonight. Salute to Vent. I see Vent is in the building. Vent is in the building. What's up, Vent? Yeah, I thought that was a spit in the face. We're gonna talk about it tonight. Where's my let me see. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm just looking for something. It was a spit in the face, man. We're here to talk about it tonight. Why I can't find my poll? I'm looking for my poll. Yeah, man, roll up, man. Get your roll up on, man. Get your roll up on. I'm trying to find where's my poll at? I just hit my green screen. What the hell? Where's my poll? I'm looking for my poll. Pause. Here we go. Is this it right here? Here we go. I got it. Hold on. Did the Democrats disrespect Jesse Jackson? Jesse Jackson. I want to know. Did they disrespect Jesse Jackson? Hold on. Yes or no? I want to know. Did the Democrats disrespect Jesse Jackson? I feel like they did. I feel like they disrespected him. I feel like they disrespected him in the highest regard. I feel like, Jesse Jackson, he's done a lot. He's done a lot. A lot of people kicking his back. A lot of people don't like Jesse Jackson. A lot of people, critique Jesse Jackson. They almost put him in the same regard as Al Sharpton. But Jesse Jackson, he's been on the front lines. He's done the work. No matter how you feel about him, right, wrong, or indifferent, he's done the work. He's been out there. And I think he deserved to be, commemorated and respected in the right way. Not making his funeral about, Donald Trump and Iran and this and that. That's what the Democrats did. The Democrats, Kamala, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, they decided to go up there and do that. Vince says, "Hey, bro, we need links to the music." Yeah. I'll put it. I'll make a post about it. I'll post up some music. I'll probably put it in my post soon at some point. Yeah. I'll definitely post some music. I'll put it in my my community section. But in terms of the Democrats making Jesse Jackson's funeral about them, we have to talk about that. I'm disgusted about that. Then we got the Pimp Daddy Obama. Maybe I should put Barack Obama on the screen. Pimp Daddy Obama. Let's put Pimp Daddy Obama on the screen. Pimp Daddy Obama. Pimp Daddy Obama. He took his narrow ass. Let me put this down here for 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Pimp Daddy Obama. Pimp Daddy Obama. Hold on. I'm trying to move my. Here we go. I got it. Here we go. Yeah, Pimp Daddy Obama, man. Let's talk about Pimp Daddy Obama for a second right here. Pimp Daddy Obama took his high yellow ass down to the funeral of Jesse Jackson and made it a political moment. Made it a political moment. Made it about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he's out of control. And yeah, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, Obama, this is about Jesse Jackson. It's not about Trump. It's not about Iran. It's not about all of these other things. No, Jesse Jackson was fighting for this. He was fighting for this. He wasn't fighting for America. He wasn't fighting, and I'm not saying that because he did push, a world belief. He was, let's not forget about the Rainbow Coalition and stuff like that. But he was about this right here. Obama, he's never been about this. He's never been about this skin right here. He's never been about this. He's been totally antithetical about that. He's never been about this. He's never been about this right here. No, 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 no. So for him to go up into that funeral with his high yellow ass and make this, make this funeral service about Iran, what else? ICE. That's not what this moment was about. This was a moment to commemorate Jesse Jackson. And I just feel a little bit I feel disrespected. Jesse Jackson's son, I don't know if you guys seen it, but Jesse Jackson's son, he came out and chastised the presidents. He chastised Joe Biden. He chastised Kamala Harris. He chastised Barack Obama for pulling up to the funeral and making that moment about, a political moment. He made a statement. He said, everybody's welcome at my father's funeral. The Republicans, the Democrats, the independents, everybody's welcome. This is a funeral service to commemorate the work that my father has done. My father was not a person that was trying to divide people. He was a person trying to bring people together. Jesse Jackson, he rode around with Martin Luther King. You know the message that they were trying to push him, and he had the Rainbow Coalition. So for Barack Obama, Pimp Daddy, I call him Pimp Daddy Obama, because at the end of the day, he pimped the American people. He made us believe that, he made us believe in hope. He made us believe in change. He made us believe that, all of these, ridiculous things that he never did for people. Let's just be real. Over 90% of black people voted for Obama, didn't do a damn thing for them. He did things, he incentivized the LGBTQ, he incentivized the big corporation, he bailed out the auto industry. He did all of these things, but he did nothing specifically for black people. So he was, like I said, he was never about this. He was never about this. This was never on his mind. Don't let him fool you. When he pulls up to the Democratic convention, when he pulls up to, all these events, when he chastises black men for not wanting to vote for Kamala, remember, he was never about this. This was never on his mind. This was never on his mind. This was never on his mind. Erie says 8 years of BS. Absolutely. 8 years of BS. Pimp Daddy Obama did nothing. He was a and black people, some black people have a kind of a heart for Obama. They feel like they feel some type of solidarity for Obama, but in reality, Barack Obama never had any solidarity with the black community. He never did. He never did. He never had any solidarity with the black community. Remember Jeremiah Wright, Pastor Jeremiah Wright. He separated from him. He separated when those comments came out of Jeremiah Wright, talking about white people. Barack Obama says, "I reject it, I repudiate." Remember that? I reject it, I repudiate Dr. Jeremiah Wright's words. He rejected and he repudiated him. So let's just be real. He's never had an alliance, like black people say, right? And this is talk black to me tonight, right? For the black people in here, talk black to me. Barack Obama has never been on code. He's never been on code. First of all, he's not even a black man. He's an African. He's an African from Hawaii. He's never been He's never been on code. He's never been about this. So he pulls up to the, Jesse Jackson's funeral, talking all this nonsense, talking all this stuff about Trump, talking all this stuff about ICE, and talking. What about the man, Jesse Jackson? What about the great work Jesse Jackson has done? What about that, Barack Obama? What about that? And like Jesse Jackson's Jesse Jackson's son said, because he chastised the three presidents that came up to his funeral. He said they never knew Jesse Jackson. They never knew him. Let's be real. When Barack Obama took office, what happened? What happened? Jesse Jackson famously said, "Oh, I want to cut Barack's balls off." He said he wanted to chastise. Excuse me. He wanted to castrate Barack Obama for talking down to faith-based preachers, because Barack Obama was talking down to faith-based and clapping at black leaders in the faith-based church. And Jesse Jackson said he wanted to castrate Barack Obama's balls. Y'all remember that? He said he wanted to put his balls on the Barbie. He said that. So he wasn't in alliance with Barack Obama. Barack Obama, and let's be real, by his second term, he had totally separated from black people. Totally. He stopped in his second term. He totally stopped being a black president. He decided to be an LGBTQ president. He decided to be an LGBTQ plus president, because he always had that soft spot in his heart for the LGBTQ. He always had that soft spot in his heart. If you read his book, he talks about having a homosexual or homoerotic dream about a man. I'm not going to clap at his wife, but some people say there's a conspiracy about his wife. I'm not going to get into that. But he did write in a book that he had a homoerotic dream with a man. I don't know a lot of heterosexual men that had homoerotic dreams about another man. Interesting. But I believe he always had a soft spot for that community. That's just my opinion. He always had a soft spot for that community. Erie says, them kind of black folks care more about symbolism than substance. That's a fact. They care more about a George Floyd statue than a George Floyd bill. And let's get to Kamala, because, Kamala was there too. Hold on, Kamala was there too. Do I got Kamala? I got the Kamala. Where's she at? Was she? He was there. Jim Crow Joe was there. Jim Crow Joe was there. I don't even think he knew where he was at. But he popped up at the Jesse Jackson. This man has never been for black people. See, this is the trickery of the Democratic Party. The trickery of the Democratic Party is that we're for black people. We're for the black cause. We're for black, improvements. When in reality, the Democrats have done nothing for black people. They've done nothing. They've set on our hopes and our dreams. If anything, they've hindered us. For years, they told us, no, you cannot talk to the Republican Party. You cannot. You must stay here with us and be our eternal slaves. That's what they told black people. You can't talk to the conservatives. No, you can't think like that. You can't go over there and have conversations. And in reality, it's hurt us. It's hurt us on every election. It's hurt us on every step of the way. It's hurt us. It hasn't helped us politically. How has it helped us politically when we sit down with these Democrats who have done nothing, want to do nothing, want to keep the status quo forever? And then here you have the Republicans that are willing to talk. I'm not saying that they're better than the Democrats or we're going to get anything, but it doesn't make sense to sit down with one party and be unabashed and loyal to them while doing nothing for you and not even hearing the other party out. Why not hear both sides out and make an educational choice? Michael says, there's your boys. Who's my boys? Jim Crow Joe? Night Quo Joe? Benadryl Joe? Dayquil Joe? Nighttime and daytime cough Joe? No, that ain't my boy. No. Jim Crow Joe is not my boy. Jim Crow Joe is a clown. Jim Crow. If any, listen. Let me say this. Let me say this, right? If anybody is mad at the status of the world today, don't blame Trump. Don't blame Kamala. Don't blame the Democratic Party. Don't blame the Republican Party. If you want to lay blame to anybody for the status of the world today, blame this man on the screen right now, Jim Crow Joe. Jim Crow Joe is the reason that the world is in the shape that it's in right now. If his old Geritol ass would have just sat down somewhere, allowed Kamala to run a clean campaign with enough time to prepare, she may have been able to win. Maybe the Democrats would have been able to have a primary. Maybe they would have selected someone else. And maybe they could have been a better opponent for Trump. But this clown, nighttime and daytime cough Joe, Benadryl Joe, NyQuil Joe, daytime Joe, he's the reason that the world is in the status quo. So if you're mad about the Iraq war, if you're mad about ICE, if you're mad at the borders, if you're mad at the governmental shutdowns, you could lay all of those issues at the feet of Joe Biden. He's the reason. If he would have just stepped down after his first term, allowed the Democrats to prepare, allow them to run a primary, give them enough time to prepare to go against Trump, it would have been a better fight. But it's all his fault because he decided, I don't know if I'm leaving. I think I want to stay for a second term. I think I'm going to stick around here. And then in the meantime, he don't know where he's at. And I'm not trying to clown him for his age, but I'm just keeping it real, bro. Like, you should have had the wherewithal and the knowledge and the wisdom to say, you know what, I'm an old man. I'm losing, my mental capacities are not where they need to be. I need to allow the next generation to take the mantle. But he didn't want to do that. So I blame Biden for a lot of these issues. Biden is the issue. Biden is the problem. His old Geritol ass, Benadryl Joe, NyQuil Joe, Dayquil Joe, nighttime and daytime cough Joe. He's the reason. Sleeping pill Joe, sleeping bag Joe, Broadway Joe, ice cream Joe. He's the reason. He's the reason for the season. I'm just keeping it real. You can place those issues at the feet of Joe Biden. Don't blame Kamala. I don't think it's fair to blame Kamala for the election, right? And Michael says, I was. Michael, did you vote for Trump? Michael says, I was. Did you vote for Trump? I want to talk to Trump supporters. Please, Trump supporters, come in. I wanted to talk to you guys a day ago. I was doing a live a day ago, and I wanted to talk to you guys. Come in. I want to talk to the Trump supporters. I would like to talk to the Trump supporters. But tonight, I've been clapping at the Democrats because they deserve it. Why are you at Jesse Jackson's funeral making it about Trump? Why? The long life of Jesse Jackson, all of his work, the civil rights, him running for president, the Rainbow Coalition, all of the things he's done, for the embedment of black people, you make his funeral about Trump? Why? It was disrespectful. It was distasteful. And I'm glad that Jesse Jackson's son called them out. He needed to call them out. They were clowns for what they did. They were disrespectful for what they did. And they need to be called out. They need to be called out. Sinclair's in the building. What's up, Sinclair? Good to see you, Sinclair. Yeah, we're talking about the Democrats, man. The Democrats are clowns. Let me put Kamala up there. Hold on. Because Kamala was up there, too. Do I got Kamala's picture? Hold on. Let me see something. Do I got Kamala's picture? Where that mammy at? Let me find that mammy Kamala. Hold on. Her picture not in here? I thought I downloaded her picture. Where's she at? She must not be in here. We got the Pip Daddy Obama. We got this nigga. Where's Kamala? Where my Kamala at? Hey, Kamala. Hey, Kamala. There she go. There she blows. Hold on. Let's talk about Kamala a little bit. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, she was up there, and she was like, oh, hold on, because I know y'all can't see the thing. Hold on. Let me see if I can move this over a little bit. Yeah, come on. I want to talk to the Trump supporters tonight too. Trump supporters, come on in here. I want to talk to y'all. I'm trying to move this questionnaire around. Here we go. I got it. Yeah, I want to talk to the Trump supporters tonight too. Let me move this down actually a little bit more. Hopefully this can stay here. Okay. Yeah, Kamala was up there. Damn, y'all can't see her, right? Can y'all see her? Let me put the poll. I put it to the top. Let me see. Put it to the top right. Let me see. Yeah, Kamala was out there. I miss putting the polls in the I miss making them. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second, bro. Yeah, but Kamala was out there, and she was out there. She was talking about Jesse Jackson, and she also made this moment about us. She said, "Oh, what did she say?" She said, "Didn't I tell you guys so?" Like she tried to make this like, "Oh, we would have been better off with her." I told you guys. I told you guys he was going to attack Iran. I told you guys he was going to do things. Nobody wants to hear "I told you so" politics. We don't want to hear that, Kamala. And let's be honest, you would have attacked Iran too. We got you on video saying, "Oh, Iran, don't." We got you on video, so you would have attacked Iran at a certain. You would have attacked Iran too. You're an Israel puppet too. You're married to a Jewish man. We would have been in the same boat. Let's not be coy. Let's not be ridiculous. We would have been in the same boat. You probably would have had the borders wide open, but we still would have. we still. The only difference is the borders would have been wide open. That's the only difference. The borders would have been wide open, and they're not anymore. And they're not anymore. Um, Sinclair says it's a funeral. Yeah, I was very disgusted the way they did that. I was disgusted that the Democrats decided to go to Jesse Jackson's funeral and make this a moment. Why? Like, is Jesse Jackson's life not more important than the presidency of Donald J. Trump? Respectfully, I mean, I'm talking about when you're in the funeral. You're at the funeral. You're at the funeral. You know the work that Jesse Jackson has done. You've known, all the work through civil rights, the Rainbow Coalition, running for president, all of the things he's done for the embedment of black people. Why not talk about that? Why is that not at the top of the docket? Why are you making this a political moment? Why? It's not campaign season. It's not, it's not 2028 yet. Why? And I feel like this is just my opinion. I think that Kamala's going to run. Kamala wants to run. She's thirsty. She's thirsty. She wants to run again. I believe Kamala wants. Does anybody here believe Kamala wants to run again? I believe Kamala wants to run again. I think she's thirsty. She's desperate to get back in there. She wants to get back in there and make a fool out of herself again. She's desperate. She wants to get back in there and make a fool. Because listen, she fell flat on her head the first time. She came to the realization that America was not loving that annoying laugh of hers. They were not loving her politics. They realized that this woman had a job. She was the border czar, and the country was being flooded with illegal immigrants. As much as she tries to deny that, the facts of the matter are what they were. Billions of dollars in sanctuary cities wasted, not on education, not on infrastructure, not on things that these states needed, but on illegal immigrants that were flooding the hotels, flooding the resources in the community. Even to the point where New York State, I believe one of the New York mayors was like, the city's being overrun. Hey, citizens, open up your doors to illegal immigrants." Yeah. Hector, he may be a sexual offender, but let them into your home with your kids and your family. That's what they proposed. So I can't unsee that. I can't unsee that. Um, Vince says everybody wants to run for president. Everybody got funds to run for president. That's a fact. You know, a lot of people. You're gonna see a lot of people running for president during 2028. 46 MD. He says, did Trump support Jesse Jackson during the presidential campaign in the 80s? Um, Listen, I think he did. I'm not sure, but there's pictures of them together. There's pictures of them together. You know, and that's the revisionist history of Donald J. Trump. A lot of people love to paint Trump as this racist that never liked black people and never dealt with black people, never did business with black people, never shook hands with black people. But it's all revisionist history. You have hundreds and hundreds of rap songs bigging up Donald Trump. There's hundreds and hundreds of photos of, Trump with all these different black entertainers, from rappers, from athletes. It's all revisionist history. Now, has he said some racist things in terms of the Central Park Five? Yes. Is it true about the, not giving black residents a place in the Trump Hotel or something like that? Not giving them a residency or something like that. I don't know about that, but I would be aligned to say that might be true. Maybe he wasn't doing that. Maybe he was not giving a place to stay to black residents and stuff like that. So it's a very complex history with Donald J. Trump. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, right? I would say any white man past the age of 70, I would just gonna say he's racist. I'm sorry. If you're a white 70-year-old white man, you've seen some real racism. You ain't see 90s racism. Oh, I can't catch a cab in Harlem. I can't catch a cab in Times Square. You ain't see that type of racism. You ain't see you ain't see this new age racism that they do today. You didn't see social media racism, somebody calling you the N-word on Facebook, on Instagram. A 70-year-old white man, he's seen some real racism. He's seen some real racism. So I would be more inclined to say that a white man at the age of 70, he possibly is racist. You've seen real racism. That's just my opinion. Right? Um, yeah, man. Salute to FBA. FBA says Trump used to hustle on 135th and Guy and Brew with G. Yeah, man. Listen, but I do feel like it's revisionist history when it comes to Trump, because a lot of people want to say he's this racist, but there's proof that he rocks with black people. There's proof that he's done business with black people. So you can't say that he's racist, but he got this past of hanging around with all the rappers, hanging around with all the athletes. He's rubbed shoulders with all the democratic elites. He's done it. You know. So listen, I don't agree with what he did in terms of the Obama monkey thing. I thought that was a little bit distasteful, but you know, it is what it is. How do y'all feel about oh yeah, I wanted to talk to the Trump supporters. Now that we're here, I forgot to do that. I want to talk to the Trump supporters. Do we have any Trump supporters in the building right now? Any Trump supporters? Don't hide. Don't hide your faces. Any Trump supporters in the building? Do we have any Trumpers? Anybody who is still, even with what's going on in the world today with the Iraq strike, the ICE situation? I want to talk to the Trump supporters. Okay, Sinclair, we got one. We got one in here. Okay. Yeah. I want to know, are you still happy with your choice? I need to know. Are you guys, yeah, Iran, I mean. I said Iraq, right? I meant Iran. Um, are you still happy with this choice? Are you still happy? Do you think, hold on, do you feel, before you answer the question, do you think, hold on. Do you think you should have gave this woman a chance? Do you think you should have given this woman a chance? I'm just asking. It's a yes or no. With all the things going on with the U.S., Israel, Iran, we're headed to war. We're headed to war. You got the ICE situation, right? You got the Venezuela situation. With all this going on, do you feel like you should have gave this woman a chance? I just want to know. Sinclair says, I hate his foreign policy. Domestically, I'm good. Okay. Okay. I respect it. I respect it. Most people would say that. Most people would say, domestically, what he's doing, I don't have a problem with. Some people would say, I don't necessarily mind the ICE situation. Most people would say that, I'm happy. Like, I'm happy with the border situation. I'm not too happy with the ICE situation because I think there's a better way that they could have done it. But I am happy with the border situation. I do think that the first thing he did was call for an emergency, a state of emergency at the border. I think that needed to be done. But the ICE situation, I'm a little bit on the fence about that. And in terms of foreign policy, I am not in agreement with this. So I'm kind of on your side with that as well. Vince says Kamala seemed bonkers, Hillary level. They both scared me. I agree. I agree. Most people would say that a lot of the things that Kamala was talking about, this wasn't aligning with them. And not only is you looked at her record, or all we can do is look at her 4-year record as vice president, and she really didn't do anything. She had a border czar job, never did the job. I mean, we knew we seen every color pantsuit that this woman had. This woman had just a sea of pantsuits. She had more pantsuits than Steve Harvey. And we seen all of her pantsuits, but we can't think of one thing that she did as vice president. I mean, that's just real. Um, Sinclair says, I'd rather have a room extraction through oh my goodness. I'd rather have a tooth extraction through my butt without anesthesia than vote for Kamala. Come on, Sinclair. With all things considered, you don't think that I mean, not domestically. I understand domestically you're happy, but on a foreign policy level, you don't think that she could have handled the situation a little bit better? Now, I will say that she is in alliance with Israel. Remember, her husband is Jewish. So and I don't really think it would be that much of a difference. Do I think in terms of approach, do I think that she would have done an airstrike? No, but she probably would have allowed Israel to go as far as they wanted to go. And just, not bat an eye at it. But I think that she would have been in alliance with what Trump is doing. I don't think it would be that different. So I kind of see what you're saying. 46 MD says Joe Biden and Kamala created the ICE situation. I agree. I agree. I agree. They did. They did. They absolutely did. But they're not taking any accountability for it. I mean, like I said, billions of dollars in sanctuary cities wasted. Billions of dollars in New York City. $400 million in Chicago. Hundreds of millions in LA being allocated to immigrants, being allocated to placing them in hotels, giving them stipends. I mean, it's ridiculous. It went way out of hand. Um, uh, I think that's Aiden Garcia says, "Are you a Trump fan?" No, I'm not. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just here talking about just the whole situation with the Democrats and what Trump is doing in the Middle East. But I'm not a Trump supporter. Hold on. Sinclair says, "Lord up, you think you can have a conversation with Putin?" Now, I agree. I agree. I agree, Sinclair. I agree. She would have never been equipped to sit at the table with Putin. I don't think that, Putin would have ever respected her. Putin would have never really. I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think that she had what it takes to be that type of a leader. I don't think that she has the balls. I don't think that she has the respect. Um, I do think Putin has respect for Trump, But I think it's more so of a wild card. I think Putin looks at Trump as, he respects him, but he respects him because he's a wild card. That's why he respects him. He respects him because of him being a wild card. If Kamala came into the picture and she took that presidential seat, I don't think Putin would respect her. I don't think he would respect her rationale. I don't think he would respect her being a wild card. I don't think he would respect her in any manner, because any man, with that type of position, and I don't think they could take a woman in that position seriously. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Um, Lily Rose says, "Why is she always laughing? Is that nervous reaction?" Yeah, and that's another thing. When somebody's like that, when somebody's always laughing like that, like, it's hard to take them serious. That's the reason. That's another reason why she lost. It was likability. I don't think people liked her personally, and a lot of female campaigns have had that against them. Hillary had that. So it was the likability of her, and I also think it was that laugh. That laugh was very annoying. That laugh made people feel a little uneasy. Like, is there anything you take serious? Is there anything that's not laughable? You can't be laughing and giggling all the time. You're the world. You're the president of the United States. You got the nuclear launch codes. There's people's lives at stakes. People, you could send young boys and young girls to war. You're in charge of, if people eat, if people sleep, if people are safe in their countries, and you're just giggling. It's not a laughing matter. This people's lives you're talking about. So, when you put that into, perspective, and then you look at her record with the border czar, not doing the job, not really having an impactful vice presidency. When you culminate all of that, I mean, she was never the right person for the job. The Democrats, they dropped the ball on that. You know, so I agree. I agree with that. Vince says the Kamala laugh makes my bones ache. Yeah, Kamala, she's just not. And I hope that she doesn't run in 2028. I think that would be a big mistake for her. Don't run in 2028. Like, she needs to just try to do I can see her doing the governor. Maybe she runs for governor somewhere. Um, Maybe she gets a seat in Congress, but I don't think a presidency is in her calling. I think vice presidency. I mean, she was lucky to get that job. I think that was good enough. You were vice president of the United States. I think that was pretty good. You've accomplished a lot. You don't need that presidency role. I mean, she got that job, respectfully, no disrespect, but she got that job as a DEI hire. Look into it. Biden was struggling with black female voters. He wanted someone to run on the ticket with him. He knew he couldn't get a white man to do it, because you got two white men running against two white men. So aesthetically, he didn't want that to be the look. He wanted to have a black woman, or a black person, or maybe even a Hispanic woman or Hispanic man to be running, to give it a little bit of flavor on that ticket. So she got that job as a DEI hire. She didn't get that job because she was the most intelligent. She was the right person for the job. She had the experience. She got that job as a DEI hire. I'm just keeping it real. You know? 46 MD said, she's the reason why Trump won. Please let her run again. No, see, that's where I have an issue with. Kamala is not the reason Trump won. Kamala was not the reason. Let me put the reason. Let me put the reason why she lost on the thing again. Let me put the reason. This is the reason why she lost. Sleepy Joe, Benadryl Joe, nighttime and daytime cough Joe. Okay? This man is the reason why she lost. People never forget that. She lost because of this man. I can explain why she lost because of this man. Let me explain what this man did. First and foremost, his dumbass should have just stepped down after his first term. Step down. You're not mentally capable. You're not, you're dealing with old age. It was time to pass the mantle down to a next generation. He decided to stay in the race. He stays in the race. He goes to the debates. He makes a fool out of himself. Everybody's questioning his mental capacity. Can he even do the job? How long has he been this way? Has this country been ran by a ghost? Has this country been ran by Kamala this whole time? We were all asking these questions. So he waits until the last moment. He gives Kamala 90 days to run an election campaign. 90 days. A lot of her election, campaign people came by way of Biden, so she didn't get to select her own people. She never got to select her own people that could reach out to the grassroots people and get those votes in. So she had to take all of his aides and campaign people. So she never had her own team. She had to take his own team. And keep in mind, the Democrats didn't get a chance to run a primary. They didn't get a chance to look at different candidates. Maybe Kamala wasn't the right person for the job. Maybe it was someone else in the Democratic Party that could have ran. This was all slowed down. And like I said, Kamala only had 90 days to run. She didn't connect with the people. She didn't talk to the right people. She had bad people in her team, and that's by way of Biden. And to add the cherry on top, let's not forget, Joe Biden goes on the campaign trail. How many people remember this? Let's talk about it, because some people forget this moment. Joe Biden goes on the campaign trail. He speaks somewhere down in middle America. There's a man in the crowd. The man in the crowd. He has a Trump hat on, right? And he's going back and forth with the man with the Trump hat. What does Joe Biden do? He takes the Trump hat off of the man's head and puts it on his head, while Kamala is running a campaign with only 90 days to win. He shot this one. He clipped her after that. That was it. That was it. Because you messed up. You didn't give her a chance to have two debates with him because he had to debate you first. You only give this woman 90 days to run a campaign, right? She had to take all of your aides. She didn't get to select her own aides. And then you do further damage by putting that MAGA hat on your head. This is all Joe Biden's fault. It's all Joe Biden's fault. Yeah, this is all Joe Biden's fault. It's all Joe Biden's fault. People forget that. Sinclair says Walls was a terrible pick. Yeah, he was. I agree. When you put everything in perspective now, with what's going on in Minnesota and all that stuff like that, clearly he was a bad pick. I think she should have went with another woman. She should have went with another woman. She should have went with like a black woman. I think that even though, a lot of people, I know a lot of y'all are not going to be in agreement with this, she should have went with like a Stacey Abrams. And now listen, I think that they still would have lost. I think they would have lost regardless, right? You only had 90 days to run the campaign. They were going to lose regardless. But I think if she would have got Stacey Abrams, if she would have gotten someone like that to be on the ticket, it probably would have been a little bit more, a little more appeasing to black people, a little more appeasing to, black voters. Lily says, stay too long. He showed signs of cognitive decline. To be fair, she went in the race too late. However, she still haven't picked herself up. Yeah, I agree. You could tell that she's still butthurt over it. But there's really nobody for her to be butthurt about it outside of Joe Biden. It's not her fault. I don't think it's her fault. I think that she was going to lose regardless. I think that Joe Biden made, her campaign harder than it needed to be. So there's really nobody to blame outside of, Joe Biden. And they also made a lot of PR mistakes. They made a lot of PR mistakes, like the Meg Thee Stallion twerking at the campaign rally. That was a PR mistake. You shouldn't don't have black women on Democratic campaigns twerking. That's just a bad look. It's a bad look. You could have reached out to somebody that went up there more respectful. It's not a party. This is people's lives. A lot of people felt like their lives was on the line during this during that election season, and they were making a joke out of it by having Meg Thee Stallion twerk. Um, Another PR mistake, not sitting down with Joe Rogan. Why couldn't you sit down with Joe Rogan for a few hours? That was another PR mistake. Just sit your ass down for 2, 3 hours and have a conversation with Joe Rogan. Why not? Why not? You're trying to get as many votes as you can. That one vote you probably would have gotten out of that because I don't think she would have gotten a lot of votes out of that. But that one, it might have been one person that listened to that podcast said, you know what, I'm going to go with Kamala. But these were all PR mistakes that she made because she didn't have her own people there. She made a lot of mistakes. Should have went with Tasha K, FBA says. Tasha K. Sinclair says, how about the real men vote for a woman? That was cringe. I don't remember that. She said that? Did she say that, or was that a quote? I don't remember that one. Real men vote for women. I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. That's interesting. I got to look into that one. I don't remember. She said that on the campaign trail? Like, where was that said at? Where was that said at? I don't remember that quote. Lily says, it's less about disliking Kamala personally and more about perception, messaging, and political context. Being vice president is a double-edged sword, high visibility, but also high scrutiny. I agree. I agree. I agree. But the thing about her vice presidency, if we're looking at it in hindsight, she didn't do much. And the reality is she had a job. It's not like Joe Biden said, you know what, Kamala, just sit around, push pencils, and you just be my celebratory token Negro. That's not what happened. He gave this woman a responsibility. He gave this woman a job. He gave her the border czar job. And we all know what happened at the border. So when people look at that in hindsight and you're running for office and they're saying, well, it's not like you were just there pushing pencils, you were given a job. And then we look at the status of the world, we look at, all of the millions of immigrants that crossed that border, you didn't do a good job at your job. So, I mean, I think that, put a lot of things in perspective during election day. A lot of people was like, do I really want to vote for a woman who let millions and millions of undocumented immigrants into this country and has no accountability, won't take any responsibility, won't really, when she was on that interview, I think it was on Fox, and they asked her about this young girl who lost her life and was sexually assaulted by a legal immigrant. She had no really rebuttal. She had nothing to really say outside of, I'm sorry, and it yada, she said she was sorry that had happened, and it's a tragedy. And and I'm happy that she said that, but in reality, that's not good enough for the family. That's not good enough for the family. You think the family wants to hear that you're sorry? What are you going to do? What are you going to fix this? I mean, there's nothing you can do to fix it for the family, but what are you going to do what are you going to do for future situations for this not to happen? She had no answer. So her answer to the borders being open was doing nothing. So people put that in perspective during election season. But like I said, a lot of the people that she had as her aides and people that were helping her, I think that they were like left over from the Biden administration, and they were just as clueless as Biden. She didn't have her own people. You know. Sinclair says, I don't care if it's a woman. She wasn't qualified. Yeah, she wasn't. I agree. She wasn't. She was not qualified. She was never qualified. She was never qualified for that job. She got hired, and I know it sounds like I'm a Trump supporter saying DEI hire and all of that, but I'm just calling it what it is. Look into it. Google it. They wanted the black female vote. They said, what can we do to get more black female voters, more female? They wanted female, female, female. So they looked and they said, well, we can go with Kamala. You know, it wasn't based off of her being the best person for the job. It wasn't based off of her being, the most intelligent person, the most qualified. It was based off of her being a female. They wanted the female vote. So she got that job as a DEI hire. I'm just keeping it real. If you look maybe like, what was that, 4 years ago when she was in the Democratic primaries, she did terrible. When she was in the Democratic primaries and she was there, her ratings were terrible. She was terrible on the mic. She was terrible talking about the issues. Nobody wanted to hear from her. It was Joe Biden who said, you know what? I'm going to take this mammy. I'm going to clean her up. I'm going to get her a vice presidency job. I'm just keeping it real. That's just what happened, That's just what happened. I'm just keeping it real, bro. I'm just keeping it real. Don't fight me. Fight the fact. You can look this up. They wanted the female vote. They wanted the female vote. They wanted more females in tune. They didn't want to lose. Let me put the Agent Orange on the screen here. Hold on. Let me put your commander in chief on the screen. Hold on. Let me put your commander in chief on the screen here, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Listen, Donald Trump is doing a terrible job on the foreign policies. He's doing a terrible job. Like, why are we doing the bidding of Israel? I mean, can I just ask that question? Why are we doing the bidding of Israel? I mean, if you look at Trump's handlers, if you look at the Jared Kushners, if you look at the people around him, you get a concise answer of why, right? But, as a person that lives in America, why are we doing the bidding of Israel? Why? Why? Why can't they fight their own war? Lily says, so it depends on whether you value historic first and outreach. Oh, you're talking to somebody. You're talking to somebody else, probably. FBA says you love Trump, though. Who loves Trump? I'm not a Trump supporter, bro. I'm not a Trump supporter. I will never be a Trump supporter. I will never be in allegiance with Trump. I will never be a Trumper. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He's, and we have to be honest. Can we tell the truth about Trump? He lied. He lied. He lied. He told us that he was not gonna get us in any new wars. He lied. He said that the price of oil, the price of fuel will go down. He lied. Can we acknowledge that he lied? Can we just acknowledge it? Come on, let's acknowledge. We can acknowledge Kamala being not fit for the job, being a DI hire, dropping the ball on the border, letting millions and millions of immigrants through, running a terrible campaign. We've acknowledged her faux pas. Can we acknowledge that Trump made mistakes? He dropped the ball. Can we acknowledge it? Sinclair says they have compromised every politician except Ray and Thomas Massey. FBA says all politicians lie, especially presidents. That's a fact. Sinclair says, wait, are you saying politicians lie? No, see, listen, I understand that politicians lie. I understand that. But can we just call it out at least? I'm not mad at Trump for lying. I'm not, I don't feel betrayed by Trump lying. But it's like, let's call it out. We can call out Kamala for all the the nonsense she does. Let's call out Trump for all the nonsense he does. You know, he lied. He told us no new wars. I mean, what are we doing in Iran then? What are we doing over there? You know, what are we doing out there? Can somebody tell me? And let me say this, right? Let me say this. I was in the Middle East during the Iran US strike, right? I was out there. The US Israel Iran strike, let's say that. I was out there. And let me say this. When it comes to the UK, people that live in the United Kingdom, there was an urgency to get their people out of there. There was an urgency. I saw reports where we're working on evacuation plans for our residents. We're going to get them out of the Middle East. We're going to work on it. We're going to do as best as we can, right? There was an urgency. I looked into, India. India, they were working on, we're going to work on getting our people out of that region. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to work with the government in concise nature to get them out of there, right? I seen all these different countries working to get their citizens out of that region, working hard, working on flights, doing things. Where was the help for the U.S. citizens? Where was the help for us? There was no help for us. You would think the country that's attacking Iran would be doing more to get us out that damn region. I mean, you're spending $2 million on missiles, billions of, hundreds of millions on airplanes to attack the drones, but you can't get us a damn Spirit flight out of the damn Middle East? I mean, come on. I mean, like, am I crazy to say this? You couldn't get us a damn Spirit flight out of the Middle East? I saw no type of effort from the United States government on getting United States citizens out of that damn region. No, nothing. No type of help, nigga. I had to get my own flight out of there. I could no longer wait for the United States government. I could no longer wait for the embassy. I could no longer wait for the airlines to reach out to me and give me a concise answer on getting me out of there. I had to take my own initiative and get my own flight up out of there. And I'm looking online and I'm looking at all these different reports. I'm seeing UK, they're working on getting their citizens' flights. India, they're working on getting their citizens' flights. They're all working. But the United States, they left us out there stranded. They left us out there in the middle of the desert, stranded. I'm just saying. Sinclair says, sir, I contacted the State Department on your behalf the day I saw your video. Sinclair, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the government. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the government. I understand. I understand and I appreciate that. Thank you, Sinclair. I'm talking about the government at large. I'm talking about the work that they were doing for the American people to get them out of that region. That's what I'm talking about. But thank you, Sinclair. I appreciate you for doing that. But like I said, it's more so about why wasn't there more of an effort to get people out of that region? I was there with people from Saudi. I was there with people that was from the States, people from Texas, people from Philly, people from Houston, people from New Jersey. I'm trying to think of the people that was out there. People from different places in the country. I'm trying to think, Westchester. Different people from the States, and they were saying that we all had the same answer. And it was like 1 day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by. By the fourth day, I was working on getting out of there. But yeah, days were going by and we saw nothing. And I'm going online and I'm seeing the efforts from the Indian government, United Kingdom government, like all these different places, and they were doing more than the United States government. So I'm more so criticizing the United States government for not doing more for the people of the states. Why wasn't there more of an effort for them? FBA says I can't imagine a WW3 scenario in UK. Picture us running around every day, living like we are playing a game of Call of Duty with our lives. People from rolling 60s. Yeah, man, listen, man. I mean, Trump got us in this war, man. Trump got us in this war. You know? Listen, there are reports of threats happening. There was a threat that happened at an airport today. I forgot the airport's name. I literally just looked at the report like maybe an hour ago. But there was a report today. There was a report of a threat today at the airport. There was another report of a threat maybe like a couple of days ago. It was the video where it was a bunch of police officers and they come on the airplane. So it was that today. The New York City mayor Mendami. There was a bomb that went off. I think two people got arrested from that. So there's things happening, and unfortunately, these things may intensify. We don't know what's going to happen next. You know. So I mean, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. It's interesting, man. You know. So, but there are things happening. There's things happening right now. There's things happening, unfortunately, right now. And listen, this is your president, man. They said cats threw a red at the protest. Um, nah. What I saw was because I saw the report on it. They said it was some type of bomb device. They said it was like some type of homemade bomb device. That's what they're alleging. That's what the report said when they came out and talked about it. They said that they found another device too. They said there was two, and they said they found the third one. So this person, whoever was, putting this together, they were trying to have a mass event or something like that of this happening. Um, yeah, it was in Manhattan. FBA says it was in Manhattan. Yeah, that's a fact. It was near the governor's mansion. Excuse me, the governor's mansion, the mayor's house. Excuse me. Yeah, it was near the mayor's house. Lily says Trump's popularity comes from emotional appeal, simplicity, and media dominance. Uh, uh, Popularity comes from emotional appeal, simplicity, and media domination. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I think people like Trump because he's unabashed. People like Trump because he says what's on his mind. Um, I think that it is media. I will say the media domination part. I do agree with that because he does dominate the media. But the emotional appeal, I don't know about the emotional appeal or the simplicity. I don't know about the emotional appeal or the simplicity. But I agree with the media domination. He does dominate the media. Sinclair says scream a la snack bar. Yeah, man. Listen, man. It's a lot going on in the world, man. It's a lot going on in the world. Um, in terms of people traveling to the Middle East, that's over. You're gonna have to wait a while. Anybody that wants to go to Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Doha, any of these places, you're gonna have to sit. You're gonna have to get yourself a Snickers bar and just relax. These are not safe places to go right now. These are not the places to be. Even with me, think about it. I had a trip. This was for people that don't know. This was my trip. This was the itinerary of my trip. Right. This is the places I wanted to show you guys. Right. I was going to go to Thailand. After Thailand, I was going to do 3 days. Then I was going to go to China. Right. For China, I was going to spend 3 days in China. After China, I was going to go to Vietnam. So my flight was from JFK to Dubai, right? I was only supposed to spend 2 hours in Dubai for a layover. Um, While we're in the sky, that whole missile attack happens in Iran. Boom. While that goes on, I'm on the plane and I happen to watch CNN and I see your commander in chief on the screen, and he's talking about fire and fury, and I'm just like, what the hell is this nigga talking about? He was talking crazy. That nigga was talking like he was talking like 50 Cent on a G Unit mixtape. He was talking crazy. And I'm on a plane listening to this nigga, and I'm like, yo, we about to we about to go to the Middle East. And next thing you know, on this, because I was watching CNN, CNN is talking about Iran is doing retaliatory strikes. So as that's going on, I'm like, yo, where you doing retaliatory strikes at? Dubai, all these other places in the Middle East. I'm in the plane still, flying. So now the pilot is busting U-Wees in the sky, he's busting U-turns in the sky because the Dubai airport, Dubai airspace is telling him he can't land here because it's going down. You can't land here. They shut down the whole Dubai airport. They shut it down. You couldn't fly. You couldn't leave or come into the airspace there. So we busting UAs in the sky trying to find out where we can land. Keep in mind, this is a 13-hour flight, so he was running out of gas. We had to go to Oman, Muscat. I know some people never even heard of it. It's right next door to Dubai. We had to go to Oman, Muscat, the city of Muscat in Oman, and get dropped off over there. So it was real. It was real. It was definitely real. Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Here I am thinking I'm about to enjoy myself. Like, I had 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks off from work. 2 weeks off from work. Like, I was excited. I was ready. Like, I'm still off from work. I'm excited. I'm thinking I'm about to be on the beach with a little, cocktail in my hand. Diddy bopping. I'm about to be in China. I'm about to be in Vietnam. I'm about to be in Thailand. I'm about to have a good old time. I'm about to show y'all what I'm doing, vlog and all this stuff. No, nigga. We're gonna drop your ass in Oman, Muscat. And no disrespect to Oman. It's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful country, but most of their the things to do out there, it's like mosque and other things like that. So I didn't really get to go anywhere. I spent most of my time in the hotel because a I don't know how severe I don't know what's going on. I don't want to be somewhere there's some type of attack going on or some type of missile strike. I don't know. I'm in a country I've never heard of Oman. So I was not really trying to go a lot of places. It was only like a lot of mosque out there, historic mosque out there. I'm not a Muslim, so I didn't want to go there. I went around the mall, did a little bit of shopping. That's about it. This was not a country I planned on spending my time with. I had a whole itinerary. I had a whole itinerary for Vietnam. I had a whole itinerary for China. I had a whole itinerary for Thailand. That all went away. Lily said, Trump's media presence is not just about being seen. It provokes emotional reactions. Supporters feel energized, opponents feel challenged, and the debate keeps him relevant. I agree with that. But it's mostly from the political left. The political left are galvanized. The political left are, it chaps their ass. It doesn't really chap the ass of anybody else. The political left are the ones that, he's really getting an emotional response out of. The Republicans, they kind of rock with Trump. Even there's some things that they don't rock with him about, but more than likely they really rock with him with everything. But it's more so the political left that he's chapping their ass about things. So, but I do agree with your statement though. I do agree with it. He does invoke emotion. Sinclair says I was talking to family in Djibouti, right? Isn't that Djibouti? To get your behind an old man. Really? Really? Yeah, man. Listen, man. Salute to Sinclair. Thank you, Sinclair. Um, is that how you spell that though? Djibouti to get you to family in Djibouti to get your behind. That's where we got dropped off at. We got dropped off in Oman. We got dropped off in Oman, Muscat. Let me see if I got the. Hold on. Yeah, it's Oman, Muscat. Oman, Muscat. Give me 1 second, y'all. Here we go. Oman, Muscat. That's where we got dropped off at. Oman, Muscat. That's where I was at. That's actually that's the real airdrop for me. That's where they had us dropped off at, man. They had my ass out there. That's exactly where they had me. Yeah, man, they had me all the way out there, man. And remember, I've never been. I've never been to this country. This is my first time going to this country. It's my first time spending time in that country. I knew absolutely nothing about it. Never looked into it. Never studied it. Never, like most places I go. Like if I plan a trip, I'm looking into the history of the country. I'm looking into places to visit, places to go, the rules, what to do, what not to do, the culture, the customs. I do a little bit of research when I go places. I had never heard of this place. You know, Couture says stay consistent and check in. Yeah, man, I'm trying to do that, man. Listen, I'm trying to do that. I'm back today. I'm doing it. Trying to stay consistent, bro. I'm here. Hey, we only got 8 likes. I need y'all to hit that like button, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you can, please. I need you to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Lily says this conflict has multiple. Oh, she deleted it. Damn, I was about to read it too. Um, yeah, man, but this is where I was at. I was out there in Muscat, Oman. And if you look, hold on, put my shit. If you look, hold on. If you look, it's right next to Dubai. Like Iran is up there, Dubai's right there, and Oman is really right there. That's in the city of Muscat is right there. So we're right there. They're doing all these missile strikes in Dubai, and y'all saw the videos. They was attacking everywhere. They was attacking the bases. They was attacking the hotels with drones. Like they was attacking everywhere. We're literally right there. So it's like, you know what I mean? What's it called? Lily says this conflict has multiple dimensions: geopolitic, humanitarian, economic, and strategic. Excuse me. What you take on it? That is true. That is true. There's a lot of dimensions. I mean, people are already breaking it down. How, in terms of the financial aspect of this war, they're talking about how Iran is only spending $30,000 on drones, but here America is spending um $1 million just to shoot one missile. Shoot one missile at a $30,000 drone. I mean, that's crazy. Are we blowing too much money on this war already? $1 million missile shot down a $30,000 drone. Are we spending too much money on this war already? I mean, are we gonna find ourselves in another George Bush scenario where we're spending billions and billions of dollars in the Middle East war? I'm asking you guys. It's something to think about, you know? Um, yeah, and that's a part of the economic and that's a part of the strategic too. Is that a part of their strategy? You know? Did y'all hear about this? This is another thing that people don't talk about. Allegedly, but when the whole war was going on, allegedly, I heard China flew to Iran and gave the Iranians some type of technology to find the stealth bombers in the sky. That's another thing that people aren't talking about a lot. There's a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening. Sinclair says they say war is God's way of teaching Americans geography. Oh, that's interesting. That's actually I actually agree with that. I actually agree with that because a lot of people don't think about the Middle East. A lot of people don't think about the Middle East. They don't think about all of these different things in the Middle East. But like I said, like is this really America's war? This is Israel's war. And did y'all see that video with that Yahoo Netanyahu? Did y'all see that video where he said that if it wasn't for Israel, there would be no America? If it wasn't for, he was talking crazy. And you don't really see, Trump really check none of that. He checked, what's my man from Ukraine? Zelensky. He checked Zelensky when Zelensky was in the White House talking about, oh, you will feel the pain of Russia if you don't help. Remember he was talking crazy, talking about United States will feel the pain of Russia if they don't help Ukraine. He checked Zelensky off the rip, like, yo, you gotta calm that down, nigga. We ain't gonna feel nothing, nigga. Like, he calmed that nigga down. Why you ain't check the Yahoo Netanyahu? Why you ain't check him? He talking crazy. He talking about if it wasn't for Israel, there would be no United States. He ain't check him. Why ain't check that nigga? Y'all be talking like Trump is this big bad, like he check everybody. He ain't check Netanyahu. Why he ain't check him? Why he ain't check that nigga? Know what I mean? God Yah says Trump is doing my plan. Is he really? Vince says Lockheed Martin doing the Birdman hand rub. Sinclair says they are part of BRICS. Can you break down BRICS, Sinclair? I'm trying to remember what that is. I've heard of it, but I'm not necessarily up to speed on that. I've heard of it though. Yeah, man. But that's a fact though. Why didn't Trump check Netanyahu? Netanyahu said if it wasn't for Israel, there would be no United States. He said that. I got the video. He said it. Trump didn't check him. Why Trump ain't check? Is Trump scared of Netanyahu? Like, what's that all about? Vince says Brazil, Russia, and China. Oh, that's what BRICS is. Okay. Is that what BRICS is? Are those the countries? Brazil, really? Is India? Is India? Oh, Iran, Brazil, Russia, Iran, and China. Yeah, I was thinking India. Couture says Iran. I thought it was India. Oh, Iran. Okay. All right. If y'all saying it's Iran, then all right. Hey. If y'all saying it's Iran. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's just like, bro, this ain't America's war, bro. This is not America's war. Like, I mean, niggas is out there. I mean, it's just like, come on, my nigga. Like, y'all niggas ruined my trip, man. Is Trump gonna pay me back the money I spent on my trip? I don't think so. Is Trump gonna give me back the money? No. He gonna give me back the money for the hotel that I never got to check in? No. Like, come on, bro. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, man. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Hold on. 1 second. Let me put your commander-in-chief back on this screen. Put your commander-in-chief back on this screen, man. This is the nigga y'all voted for. Lily says this tension didn't start overnight. It came from decades. I agree. This has been a very long war between Israel and Iran. This has been brewing for decades. I agree. But just because this has been brewing for decades doesn't mean it involves the United States people. Don't involve the United States in this kerfluffle, right? And I had to look up what a supreme leader was because I'm thinking like a supreme leader is just a dictator, right? From what my research told me, that a supreme leader is damn near a king, a president, and a pope all wrapped into one. I had to look it in. Like the dude that they took down, the Iran supreme leader, he's looked at as almost as a divine prophet in that sector, because there's sectors of Islam. In that sector of Islam, when as a supreme leader, he was looked at as a prophet or almost like a divine leader within that sector of Islam. That's what a supreme leader is. They look at a supreme leader as like a president, a king, and also a divine leader within Islam, within that sector. So I had to look into that. I mean, it's just like, what are we really getting ourselves into? What are we really getting ourselves into? You know, this is your president. This is your president right here. This is your man. This is the nigga y'all voted for, man. Y'all went to the listen, man. I remember those election night streams, man. Hundreds of people in here. Y'all was loving this man. Y'all was loving all the one-liners, all the obnoxious things he was saying. Y'all was loving him, man. Are y'all still feeling like that about him? We'll see. We will see. Couture says they want that oil. I mean, that's what this really all about. That's what it seems like that's what every war is about. Seems like that's what every war is about. Them getting that oil. You know? Sinclair says those streams were brutal. I enjoyed them. They were pretty fun. They were pretty fun. Vince says, if you think about it, Israel is a hedge fund baby. If the U.S. Yeah, I can see that. Lily says, yes, it does. Yeah, man. But listen, and let me put Jesse Jackson on the screen. Hold on. They did. I don't like that picture of Jesse. Hold on. Let me not put Jesse. I don't like that picture of Jesse. We're not going to disrespect Jesse like that. I don't like that picture of Jesse. We're not going to keep that. Look, I was going to put this picture up of Jesse, but I said, nah, I don't like this picture of Jesse. We're not going to do Jesse like that. Rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. Listen, Jesse Jackson, a patriot, an American hero, a civil rights hero. The Democrats, you disrespected that man. Disrespected him. Sinclair says, Iran wasn't a WEF member and refused International Bank of Settlements. Lily says, historical mistrust and competition for influence conflicting alliances and regional power struggles, disagreements over Iran's nuclear ambitions, sanctions, military strikes, and proxy wars, etc. Yeah, listen, somebody brought up a good point, right? And they said, and I don't necessarily agree with this point, but it's a point to ponder on. Why are only certain countries allowed to have nuclear arms? Now, I'm not saying that every country deserves to have nuclear arms, but why only certain countries are allowed to have nuclear arms? Only these countries can have nuclear arms. Like, are they more trusting? Or are they more what makes some of these countries so special that they should have nuclear arms? Either we say nobody, like guns, right? Either we say nobody should have guns, or we say everybody should have guns, right? Because I feel like guns are like the most. I feel like guns are the neutralizer. If I have a gun and I know you have a gun, at least we know that we should be able to talk, right? Because it could go left, right? If two people live on the street, let's say two people live on the street, right? And I know you got a gun in your home and I got a gun in my home. And if we get into a crazy argument or we're like fighting or whatever, it can go left. So instead of it going left, why not have that discussion, right? So I think like a gun is like that. It's like the ultimate neutralizer. Now, with the nuclear arms, are we saying that only these people can have it? Only some people can have it? Like, what makes the United States, Russia, Israel, and all these other countries, what makes them so trusting that they should have it, but these other countries can't? And I'm not saying that they should. I'm not saying that these countries should have nuclear arms. But what makes us say that we should have them, but no, some people shouldn't have it. What makes us the moral authority for that? That's something to think about. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that these countries should have them. I'm not saying that these countries should have them, but in reality, maybe none of us should have them. Maybe in reality, none of us should have them. Sinclair says, uh, Lily, Iran allowed outside nuke inspections, but Israel doesn't. I didn't know that. You know, didn't for years Israel denied that they had nuclear arms? Am I bugging? Didn't they say that they didn't have nuclear arms? Did I like did I like misinterpret that, or did I like read that wrong? Didn't they for years deny that they didn't have nuclear arms? So now they're saying that they do have nuclear arms, right? For some reason, I feel like I read that before, that Israel said that they never had nuclear arms, but now that they do. Why are we not kicking down their doors? Why are we not, hitting them with the weapons of mass destruction and kicking down their doors? And why are we not doing that? You did it. You did it to Saddam. You ran down on Gaddafi. Sinclair says yes, they stole our technology. Yeah, but didn't they deny? They denied it for years, right? They denied it, saying that no, we don't have nuclear arms. No, they denied it. I remember that they denied it for years, saying no, we don't have any nuclear arms here. They denied it for a long time. Now all of a sudden they got them, huh? Very interesting. Yeah, man, it's something, bro. Yo, I heard. Did y'all hear that Rihanna's house got shot up? Did y'all hear about that? I heard Rihanna had her house shot up. I don't know what that's all about. Somebody shot up Rihanna's house. I don't know what they do. What they shooting at Rihanna for? What they shooting at her house for, man? Who do y'all think has? Let me ask this. This is the question to ask. Who's more of a crazier fan? Is it the male super fan or is it the female super fan? Because both can be crazy. Both. Listen, man. How many stories have we seen with somebody breaking into Chris Brown house, somebody breaking into Drake's house, them laying naked in the bed, sipping on wine. There's some crazy women out there, but I've seen some crazy men fans too. Cause I remember that story with the girl from WWE. Some dude broke into her house. There's video of it. Some dude broke into her house. Um, it's so many, crazy male super fans stalking their favorite celebrity. Who do y'all think is more vicious and dangerous, in your opinion? Who do y'all feel is somebody? Vince says maybe ASAP Rocky beef. Dude, listen, man, I thought about that. I thought about that. Is this ASAP Rocky's beef that maybe somebody's, because ASAP Rocky, it seemed like he got 1 foot in the streets and 1 foot out the streets, man. Because like, why are you shooting? Like, why you shoot ASAP Rally for? Why you shoot him for? We know you shot that nigga. Why you shoot the nigga for? So like, it seemed like, he got 1 foot in the streets. I mean, like Rocky seemed like a cool dude, but it seemed like, he seemed like he's willing to go that route if he has to, in my opinion. So it might be ASAP Rocky beef. I don't know. But I mean, the clap at Rihanna is kind of crazy. Like, they got like 3 kids and she's a woman. It's like, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Couture says, that fact that the lady is 30 is insane. Yo, so the lady's 30 years old. Yeah, being a super fan at 30 is kind of crazy. Yeah, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Who do y'all think is more crazier though? Do y'all think it's women or do y'all think it's men? Like a super fan man, like let's be real, a super fan man can do more damage. Because if If a man is a super fan of a woman and he gets her into a bad position, he could do way more damage. But a woman could be more conniving. A woman could be a super fan of a celebrity. Let's say she look a little bit decent and she can get into that circle. Maybe she, top off a couple of security guards, get around the crew, get around him eventually. She could do some damage too now. I think a man could do more physical damage, but a woman could be very conniving to get into that circle. Couture says, facts, Tupac situation. Yes, the Tupac situation is prime example. Tupac situation, yeah. What the girl from the hotel. Exactly. A super fan could get around her favorite artists, say, oh, I want you to have my baby. And the artist is like, what are you talking about? If you don't have my baby, I'm going to call the police and say that you tried to R-word me. You tried to grape me. Next thing you know, he's in lawsuits. The police show up to the house. You let this woman into your house. She said you sexually assaulted her. Listen, man, it depends. It depends. Neil Byrne says, did you hear about BlackRock halting investors pulling money from investments? I have no knowledge of that. Do you want to educate us on that? Before you educate that, let me make sure I got your name. Let me screenshot your name, just in case if somebody come looking for me. Hold on. Let me just screenshot your name. Give me 1 second, sir. No burn. Hold on. Okay, let me just screenshot you. All right. Okay, I got your screenshot. All right. Now educate us on that. Educate that. Just want to. This in case if listen, somebody want to know where I could point them to. I just want point them to your direction. Educate us on that, Nilburn. I'd love to hear it. Educate us on that. Sinclair says, as a female, bunny boilers scare me worse than men. What's a bunny boiler? Bunny boilers. As a female, bunny boilers scare me worse than men. What's a bunny boiler? I'd love to know about that. Bunny boiler. Yeah, I feel like a female could do more damage as a super fan. We're talking about the Rihanna situation. Like, I feel like a female could do more damage because they could get a man in a very bad situation, depending on the looks of the woman. Chinese food, is that what that is? Vince says, let me guess, a goofy ass woman who laughs too much. Hey, that sounds like Kamala, ain't that? But I feel like a woman could get a man in a very bad situation if she's a super fan. Because think about it, if she looks good, and she gets around him, she could put so many lawsuits on him. Let's say she could even have his kid. If the dude is stupid enough, she could have his kid. Now you got kids with this super fan girl, and if you don't do what she says, she'll put you like in you know, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? Oh no, not that movie. Um, the movie with Martin Lawrence. On some tip like that. Dave East, the 30K situation. That's another situation. Yeah. Well, he kind of finessed her. I'm gonna be honest with you. He kind of finessed her. He needed to just pay that woman back her money, man. Give that woman back her money, Davies. Give that woman back her money. Give that woman back her money, man. Yeah, he finessed her. Davies finessed her, man. He gotta give her money back. Oh, Shannon Sharp. There we go. That's a prime situation. Shannon Sharp. See, Shannon Sharp, he's one of these niggas that's like, you could tell, like when he was like in the NFL, I don't think white girls wanted him. I think he was just so enamored with the fact that a white girl took interest in him, and he just lost it. A lot of I'm gonna be honest. I think a lot of these football players, um, I think that the reason you see them with the type of girls you see them with is because when they were in like high school, middle school, I don't think they had access to women. I don't think they had access to women because they were such jocks and they weren't the pretty boys. They weren't the get money niggas. They weren't like the most popular. They were just jocks. So in high school, they wasn't really on nothing. In college, that's when the white girls and all these other girls start coming around because they see your potential. But I think he was with black women around that time. He probably was running around with black women around that time. So I think that whole time he was just messing with black women, and at this stage of his life, he just wanted a snow bunny. He wanted a young little snow bunny because he was playing into it. If you hear the calls and the text messages, he was just playing into the whole fetishism of having a white girl and oh you want this big black man on top of you. Like he was just playing into it, and it was just like have you ever been with a white girl? Maybe you're just into this kind of fetishism here. Yeah, that's what I think it was. I think it was more so he's never really had access to, certain types of women, never had never been around that type of thing. Maybe he was like, in a long-term relationship with a black woman. He never really had that type of experience. I don't know. Liddy says, can someone tell me what a bunny broiler is? I'm still waiting for Sinclair to tell me what that was. I want to know what that was too. Vince says, well, another thing, bro. Shannon grew up super broke, so black and white probably didn't want him. I agree. I agree. I agree. I don't think Shannon had access to women like that. I think that, his whole like childhood up into high school, he wasn't really getting play like that. And then he went to college. He got some play there. But I think he was dealing with like nothing but black women. He was dealing with black women in college. He was probably dealing with black women in the NFL. And now that he's this old man, he I guess he just wants these young little white girls, Respect, if that's his forte, that's his forte. But you gotta understand, like, these white girls, uh, they don't want you, Shannon. You a big black, you know, wide nostril Negro, and they see you got the bag, but they don't necessarily want you. Like when you at a certain age, in my opinion, like, and you're not like a sex symbol. You haven't really, and I'm not saying Shannon Sharp hasn't kept himself like body wise. He's in the gym. His body looks well, but he's not a handsome. Respectfully, no mo. He's not a handsome man. He's not a Brad Pitt. He's not a respectful like a sex symbol that women are looking for, even in their old age. Like he's kind of out the game. So like when you around these young women and you're an older man, you gotta kind of like understand that dog. Like these women, they not into you like that. They just want the bread, bro. Like what I mean, yeah, you're gonna throw them some D, and they gonna they gonna act like they probably like it. In reality, they probably got a young dude on their roster. They probably dicking them down right. You probably ain't doing it right. And you just gotta understand that, yo, you an older dude, you out the game. You probably should have been dating a girl that was closer to your age instead of dealing with this 19-year-old girl. But he didn't want to do that. Like he said, he wanted to date his ways, not his age. So well, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. It's just the reality of the situation. Vince says, but ain't no excuse. Fact, he grew up so broke, should try to protect his wealth. Yeah, I mean he was just thirsty. It was clear he was thirsty. He was way too thirsty for this white girl. He was way too thirsty. He was way too thirsty. He was like playing into it. Oh, you want this big black man on top of you? I'm gonna choke your little white ass. Like he was just like really into the whole like her being a white girl and him being a big black man. Is just like dog. Like you you gotta relax, my nigga. like, like my nigga, go rub one out and, and take an ice bath. Like nigga, like bro, nigga gotta relax, bro. Like he was he was going way too hard. Like y'all, I know y'all heard the calls. Like he was wilding out. He was wilding out. And why? And my question is this: Why? Why, when you're that age, that you got to go so young? Like he's what? He's like what, in his 50s? You can't date a 30-year-old girl. Like what's wrong with dating a what's wrong with a 50-year-old man dating a girl in her early 30s? I don't think that's nothing crazy. I don't think that's like, she ain't been ran through like that. Like ain't like she 50 or 40. Date a girl in her early 30s. You gotta go. You went all the way to 19. Like, that's crazy. Like, why you can't date a girl in her early 30s? There's plenty of girls in their early 30s that ain't been totally ran through, that you could, have a good time with. He went all the way to 19. See, that's the problem with him. Even Monique said it to him. I don't agree with what Monique said in terms of you need like a fat black woman and stuff like that. But I agree with what she said in terms of finding a woman like close to his age. Like, go find a girl a little bit closer to your age that she'll take better care of you. That white girl was just there to but was there to manipulate the nigga. Know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's a fact. Shit is crazy. Vince says, I see y'all laughing. Vince says, Shannon act like he got freed yesterday. Yeah, it was all slave play. It was all slave play, that it was all factoring into his brain. He thought he was in the big house smashing like the master's daughter or something like that. Like he's like this buxom runaway slave. Like, nigga thought he was Nat Turner or something like that. He was wilding. He was wilding. You know? Talking about 30K for one cheek and 30K for another cheek. Like, who does that? Who pays 30K for each butt cheek? He was wilding. He was wilding. And that's what happens when you thirsty. See, that's why it don't cost to be thirsty. Stop being thirsty. If you're a man, don't be thirsty. It don't cost to be thirsty. Just don't be thirsty, man. If you get that thirsty for a girl, like I said, go rub one out and take a cold shower, nigga. Go take a ice plunge. If you're that thirsty, he was way too thirsty. If he would have just rubbed one out and took an ice bath, he would have been good. Could have been smooth with it. He would have came to a realization that, why am I paying 30K for a white girl's butt cheeks? Like, what am I doing here? When you put things in perspective, you start realizing what you're doing is stupid. But when you're thirsty, you ain't putting none of this in perspective. You ain't thinking clearly. You thinking about this butt cheek you paying 30K for. You just, obsessed with it. Vince says, you know who? A slave with no concept of money. That's a fact. That's a fact. The girl done messed up his career. Nigga had a cushy job at ESPN. And think about it. Shannon was popping. I'm not saying he don't got a platform. Nah, he still got a platform. But at that time, he was popping. The podcast was popping. You on ESPN. You got multiple streams of income. You're popping, but she stopped all that for him. Wayne Dillon says, Team China, Team Fentanyl. We don't rock with fentanyl. We don't rock with China here, okay? Tell the Chinese to keep their fentanyl. We don't want it here. Vince says, man would have traded his Super Bowl ring. You think he would have did that? You think he would have traded his Super Bowl ring for one of them booty cheeks she was offering? I can see that. I can see that. I can see Shannon Sharp doing that, trading one of his rings for them for one of them ass cheeks. But let me ask y'all this question. Right? Why do y'all think a man his age, right, and he's in his 50s, right? Why do y'all think he wanted to mess with a girl that was 19? Why you think he couldn't find a girl that was in her 30s? Why did he have to go so young? Why did he have to go with? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If he would have dealt with a girl that was 30, she would have wanted to have fun, but she probably would have wanted a relationship too. She probably would have wanted to, like, yo, I'm in here to be loyal. And I think that's probably what he needs right now. He probably needs a young 30-year-old girl that he could, like, have fun with and possibly get married to take care of him when he get older, right? Why did he decide to deal with this 19-year-old girl that clearly, her mind isn't having, all she care about is hard dick and bubble gum. Let's be real. She's a 19-year-old girl. All she cares about is hard dick and bubble gum and some money, of course. And listen, most women are looking for that. They're looking for some money as well. I'm not saying that, you know, other women don't have that type of perspective, but I mean, I think if he would have dealt with a girl in her 30s, he probably would have not been in that predicament. Sinclair says Steve Harvey's daughter wasn't available. She seems loose. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. Like I said, listen, I'm just saying that I think that if he would have dealt with a girl closer to his age, I don't think he would have been in that predicament. I don't think he would have been in that predicament. I think he would have been able to get out of there without, having to deal with a lawsuit, having to deal with losing his job. He probably would have, just, exited the relationship and things would have went, how they went. Vince says he would have used that Mike Tyson speech about his title belt. This is nothing. This is garbage. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, but we're like, you know, if I just feel like if you're that age, if you're a man, if I'm a man in my 50s, I'm not going 19. I'm not going I'm going like early 30s, maybe late 20s, maybe 28, 29, but 19 is crazy. Like if you expect a 19-year-old girl to hold you down as a 50-year-old man, I think you're just a little bit delusional. Like, ain't no 19-year-old girl gonna hold you down. Like, you might have some fun, but you definitely ain't gonna hold you down. She definitely ain't gonna hold you down. So I don't. That's why I don't understand why he went that route. you know, 30K for an ass cheek. I mean, come on, my nigga. Like, you was moving crazy. Yeah, man. But we kind of we kind of going off the rails here. Is there anything else I should discuss before I get out of here? Because I might get out of here. I forgot. I don't know how long I've been on here. Let me see. Oh, I've been on here for a minute. 107 hours, 107 minutes, hours or whatever. Is there anything else we should discuss? We talked a little bit about the Democrats. We talked about Rihanna. We talked about Shannon Sharp paying 30K for each booty cheeks. Is there anything else we should address before we dip up out of here? What else happened? I know y'all don't want to talk about 50 Cent and T.I. I know y'all don't want to talk about that. I talked a little bit about that yesterday. The 50 Cent track is trash, garbage. I like the first one. The first one was good, but it was only one verse and one hook. But that last one, the Max B one, him and Max B, garbage. I don't even know why he's on that. I don't even know why he's on that joint. But yeah, that one was garbage. That one was garbage. So I know y'all don't want to talk about that. Yeah, so we'll probably close it out, y'all, because I feel like we talked about. I don't really have nothing much other topics to talk about. I just want to get on here and talk about the Democrats, and all the things that they were doing. Let me see. Vince says some basic war terms are being censored from chat. Some basic war terms are being censored from the chat. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. You know, I don't know what that's about. That's above my pay grade, man. That is above my pay grade. Yo, let me ask y'all this question, right? Because actually, I might ask y'all another question. What should I do? Because I was supposed to be on vacation this week, right? I was supposed to be on vacation, but your man right here, he messed that up for me. I'm supposed to be on vacation in another country, but now I'm back home. What should I be doing? What should I be doing? I don't have work for a whole week. I've been home. I've been chilling. I hit the gym today. I'm probably gonna hit the gym tomorrow, but that's all I got to do. I don't have nothing else to do but besides hit the gym. What else should I do? You know? What else should I be doing? I need something else to do now. I need to know what else should I be doing right now. What else should I be getting myself into while I'm on this vacation that I have? This nigga Couture says be consistent and check in. Nigga, I'm here. I'm here, man. I'm here. I mean, I'm gonna do some lives while I'm gonna do some lives while I'm off from work. But I'm talking about like what else? Like, should I be doing something? Vince says, yeah, you had like 3 or 4 countries lined up, then the world almost ended. Yeah, man. Listen, man. Yeah, but hold on. Rent a car and go on a road trip. That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. That could work. That's an idea. I don't know where I would go though. I'm trying to think where should I where haven't I would want to go somewhere I haven't been. I haven't been to Texas. I haven't been to Los Angeles. I would want to go somewhere I haven't been. It would probably be Texas. I'll probably want to go to Texas. Yeah. Oh, Miami too. I've never been to Miami. Maybe I should go to Miami. I was looking up like concerts in other states. Like I was thinking, like if it was a decent enough concert, I was gonna fly out there and go to a nice little spot, nice little concert, because it wasn't really nothing out here that I saw. But I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. I mean, I'm gonna try to enjoy my vacation while I'm off from work. I'd be so mad if I was you, because if you made it to Asia, you may have finished your trip. Yeah, man. Yo, bro, Vent. I was 6 hours away. I was 6 hours away from my destination. It wasn't like, I was in JFK and then they tell everybody your flights are canceled because of the strike or whatever, whatever. Like nigga, I'm on a 13-hour flight. 13-hour flight. All I gotta do is land in Dubai, have a 2-hour layover, and then we take a flight out of there. That's all we had to do. I'm stuck in Oman, and Oman is only the country of Oman is only 6 or 5 hours away from my next destination. But the ticket, like they wasn't letting nobody fly out of there for like the first 3 days. They wasn't allow people to fly, out of there. And then they started allowing flights, but they were only having flights that fly to Dubai, and then after Dubai, fly to um, Asia. So they were like kind of like not letting us leave. Like they kind of had us stuck there. Um, so I mean, yeah, it was just a messed up situation, man. It was tight. I'm tight. I'm tight about that. Yeah, I'm kind of tight. I'm really tight because I wasn't even supposed to go to Asia. I was supposed to go to Kenya. The original plan was for me to go to Kenya, Africa. But the only reason I didn't go to Kenya, Africa, was that my brother's girlfriend, um, she wants to go to Kenya with my brother. So we was gonna go, but she was like, nah, just wait until I'm able to go with you. So he wound up saying, yeah, we're not gonna go to Kenya because my girl want to go to Kenya. So then he was like, we can go to we can go to Asia. So then we want to go to Asia, but the original plan was to go to Africa. I mean, we could have just went to Africa, but I mean, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Sinclair, yeah, Sinclair says, please tell me you had travel insurance. No, I had no travel insurance. I didn't pay for none of it. I didn't pay for no insurance. Everything had to be out of pocket. Everything. I didn't pay for no insurance on anything. Nothing. For the flight, for the flight. For the hotel, nothing. I just took the L. Even the flight leaving, I had to pay $2,000 to leave Oman and go to UK. All of that was out of pocket. All of it was out of pocket. So I lost on going to Asia. Um, so let's put it all in perspective. So I took the flight from JFK. It was supposed to land in Dubai. It landed in Oman. So we got to the Middle East. So boom. So that's half my ticket, right? Um, we were supposed to take another flight from Dubai to Asia. That never happened. So I lost out on that portion of my ticket and my trip and the returning flight because I paid for my returning flight. So we're talking about, let's say, about 800, 800, either four or 800 at this point. I think it's, let me see. Let's say four. Let's say four. I think four right now. So I lost out on that and I lost out on a returning flight. Then you got to factor in the hotel. I think I paid like maybe three for my hotel. So three, four, five, six. So let's say about 700, and then add on had to fly out of there. I had to fly out of there because there was no flights. There was no flights in the Middle East. We had to fly out of there as fast as we could. So I had to get a flight from Oman, Muscat to United Kingdom. So we're talking about probably 2,000 and some change, almost 3,000. No insurance or nothing. I mean, I wasted a lot of money, man. I know for a fact, worldwide travel is still active. I don't see why you couldn't finish the trip. Nah, see, look, like, could I have finished the trip? Technically, I could have finished the trip, but it would have only been a few days. Um, and the reality of the situation, they wasn't letting us fly out of there. We spent days in the hotel waiting for first of all, the airline turned off the phone system. Some of y'all don't even know this. They turned off the phone system. The airlines, um, what's the name of it's like Eaton Head. It's EITHAD Airlines. Eat Head, something like that. They turned off their phone lines at a certain point. So I was calling them every day, and they were not picking up the phone line when that thing happened because they had canceled so many flights. So there wasn't a way to leave. There wasn't a way to come there. It wasn't a way to leave. So I'd been stuck in there for 3 days, and I'm hearing about bombs and this and that. I'm just like, dog, like get me out of here. Um, so you gotta think, I was stuck in the Middle East for 3, 4 days. Um, and the way we had it, it was just going to be more expensive. Like I thought about going to Kenya. That was going to be more expensive to come back home. I was trying to get a flight to Oman to Thailand. I was trying to get a flight for that. They were beating people over the head. They were charging like $5,000 just to get. Think about it, this is a 6 hour flight. They were charging $4,000 just to get to Thailand, and I'm just like, yo, like I'm not trying to spend no $4 or $5,000 to get out there. So the way I looked at it, I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to. This is just a part of traveling. Sometimes you take L's in traveling. Sometimes flights get canceled. Sometimes things don't work out the way you want it to work out. Sometimes you may have to have a emergency flight land in another place that you didn't plan to be. It's all a part of traveling. Unfortunately, sometimes you take these L's. And I just said, you know what? I don't want to be stuck in the Middle East anymore. I don't want to, and I don't. It's so much stuff that we're hearing about. I want to get. I mean, every day I'm in the hotel. There's no channels. It's only CNN. I'm watching CNN every single day. There's nothing else on TV out there. Um, so I mean, all I'm hearing is about is bombs and this, that, and the third. I was ready to go, bro. As soon as I got that flight to UK, I took it. Yeah, I was ready to dip. Vince said, so basically, as soon as you traveled, airlines got their best excuse to price get. That's a fact. That's exactly what happened. As soon as everything jumped off, and things were like limited airspace, limited flights, they price gouged like a motherfucker. They was price gouging crazy. We talking about $4,000 to a flight that's only 4 to 5 hours away. So yeah, they was beating us over the head. So I was like, I'm just gonna go home, bro. I'm not gonna spend $4 or $5,000 for this 6 hour flight, and when I just go home. Like I just took the L because I don't want to, because the original airline that was supposed to get me there, they refused to get us to where we needed to go. Is this possible that all this was God's protection from something worse? Yes, it's very possible. Very possible, bro. You never know, bro. You never know. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be, And I agree with you. You're right. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be there. Maybe it was a protection from just not being there, Sometimes you just need to chill, I agree with you though. Maybe, yeah, maybe just it just wasn't meant to be, bro. Just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, man. I agree with you, Vent. I agree. I agree with that aspect. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I'm cool with it, bro. It is what it is. To be honest with you, I'm just happy to be home because, like I said, when I was out there, all we watching is CNN. All we hearing about is bombs, 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 airstrikes, missiles. So, listen, man, I was happy when we got that flight to UK and we landed in UK. I was happy. I was even more happy when we got that flight from UK to New Jersey. I was happy. So I'm just happy to be back home. It was a lot going on out there. But listen, with that being said, y'all guys have a good night. I'm gonna do a live tomorrow. We'll see how that works out. Maybe we'll have more topics to talk about. But with that being said, y'all guys have a good night. And toodles, man. Salute to Vince, salute to FBA, salute to Couture, salute to Sinclair. Who am I forgetting? Oh yeah, salute to Lily. Yeah, she was checked in. She was giving us a lot of eloquent points on things. And salute to everybody that was in there. I said Couture, right? Couture. And salute to everybody that was in the chat. Listen, y'all guys have a good night. And God willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. We'll probably do a live and do some talking tomorrow on a new topic, y'all. We out. Toodles.